After some time, the dinner party came to an end, and Lloyd and the others returned to the third floor of the hotel. Feeling strangely elated, though still exhausted from the fun of the day, they decided to turn in early. And then... Someone about to get up? Can't sleep, Lloyd? Crossbell's barriers. The same barriers that have been in front of us all year. Maybe Mayor Croy is doing what he believes is necessary for Crossbell to get past them. And yet, we managed to get over at least one when Ravache was toppled. But now, there are even more barriers in front of us than there were then. Are we really doing enough? Is the SSS making a difference? Where do we go from here? This isn't good. I'm exhausted, yet I can't sleep at all. Maybe I should go to the lounge and get some water. Easy, Lloyd. A little less sound next time. That's where all the alcohol is. Oh. Evening, Rixia. Lloyd? Sorry about that. I hope I didn't startle you. No, that's not it. I was just lost in thought is all. Well, is it okay if I join you? The moon is beautiful from here. Perhaps it's because we're away from the lights of Crossbell City. I think that's right. You know, Wheezy told me something interesting this morning. He did? He said that I'd wake up and have a chance encounter with a girl where we're all alone. I hate to give him too much credit, but I guess he got that one right. You never cease to surprise me, Lloyd. I was thinking that I wished I wasn't alone right now, and then you appeared. Simply having you here makes me feel so much more at ease. I envy the rest of the SSS. It's just a coincidence. You're giving me too much credit. I still have a lot of areas I need to work on as a senior detective, and as a leader too. For one, I desperately need to grow up. Hey Rixia, can I be frank with you? There's something I've been meaning to ask. Frank? What could it be? Why is it your eyes are so empty when you smile? I've noticed it since the day we met. In your short time in Crossbell, you've done so much. You were recruited by Ilya herself, have gone on to co-star for Ark and Ciel. Rixia Mao is now a household name in Crossbell. And yet you still... When you smile, everything about it still feels so hollow. Why do you look like you've lost something? Would you think? Because I've seen it before. Someone close to me wore the exact same kind of smile for a long time. But eventually, that smile, like her grief, faded. Now she can smile genuinely as she did before. You, on the other hand, I think you've always had an empty smile like that. Her grief came from trying to bear the sorrow of losing someone she loved forever. So what about you? Why smile that way even in the presence of someone like Ilya, someone who loves you? She's always been there for you. See, you really are full of surprises. I've always known you were sharp, but I didn't expect you to see right through me. Does that mean... Yes, everything you said is true. Maybe it's because I know I'll have to someday leave Crossbell. I thought that might be it. Let me guess, you can't tell me the reason, can you? Correct. I can't share the details, but I can tell you this. From the day I was born, there's always been a path that I was meant to take. A path? Think of it as a family business to inherit. Ever since I was little, it has been my reason for living. It's the same path my ancestors have walked throughout history. And now, I no longer understand where that path is leading me or why. I see. But then, why not leave it? I'm afraid it's not that simple. Abandoning it is easier said than done. My father eventually found his reason for inheriting it. A dark, hidden path that can influence society and even change the course of history. Now it's mine. I inherited it from father, and now it's my turn to walk it and find my reason. That's how it should be from this moment on. It's strange. Earlier I refused the wine that Ilya had offered. Yet, sitting here, I feel as though I've become intoxicated on only the moonlight. Poetic, but I don't know about that. Sorry, I don't mean to make light of what you're saying. No, it's all right. My point is only that I've let far more slip than what I was expecting to. Thank you for listening to all of it, Lloyd. Not at all. I'm happy to lend you an ear. But there's something I need to say too, Rixia. If you ever... Lloyd? Oh no, Kia. Kia? Oh. Oh, and Rixia's here too. Am I interrupting you two? No, it's okay. We were just finishing. Yeah, it's fine. You having trouble sleeping? Yeah. I think I had a scary dream. Really now? Would it help if you slept in my bed? Can I? Yes, but just this once. Sorry about that, Rixia. I think we got cut a little short. Don't worry about it. I think talking with you will help me sleep too, Lloyd. So thank you. You're welcome, I guess. And if it's too much trouble, could you keep this talk between us and away from Ilya specifically? I want to tell her these things too, but not until the time is right. I understand. I don't know how reliable I can be, but just know that you can call on me if you ever need anything. I'll do whatever I can. I appreciate it. I'll be sure to come to you for advice if I ever need it again. Good night, Lloyd. You too, Kia. Good night, Rixia. Good night. Sleep tight. Did something happen to Rixia? She seems sadder than she usually does. So you've noticed too. I don't have all the details, but she's clearly dealing with a lot. She's a friend, so I'm going to be there for her in any way I can. You're such a cool guy, Lloyd. What the heck is that supposed to mean? Anyway, we need to get you back to bed, little lady. Do you need to go to the restroom first? Lloyd, I can do that by myself. Ooh. Wait a sec. It's the end of 0? Hey, where's Estelle and Joshua? We've already found you. Wake up, Lloyd. What? What time is it? About 2 a.m., I think. You look like you were having a nightmare. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, I guess I was having a some kind of weird dream. Wait. Huh? Something wrong? Randy, sorry, did we wake you? Don't worry about that. More importantly, where's Keto? You brought her back to sleep in your bed earlier, right? Oh, you two noticed? Yeah, that's right. She should be right here. And she's not? That's not good. Yeah, let's start looking for her. Thanks, guys. Sorry about dragging you out of bed like this. Lloyd and the others searched for the third floor but couldn't find a trace of Kia. Having sensed their presences moving about, Tio soon joined, and the other girls followed suit. Shortly after, they called the hotel staff and had the second floor searched too. So she's not on the second floor either? I'm terribly sorry. Then again, we weren't able to thoroughly search every guest room. You've already done more than enough. It is the middle of the night after all. What the heck has gotten into Shorty, wandering off somewhere half asleep? This is growing more and more concerning. Where could she have gone? I was unable to find her by searching with the Aeon system too. I have no idea where she could be. Zeit knows. Dear. Hey boy, was wondering where you were. What? He said, follow me, she is this way. Then, what are we waiting for? Let's chase after him. That way, but be careful. Wow, you really do pick up what he's laying down. If Zeit thinks we should be careful, that can only mean... I know, but there's no time to ponder the what-ifs. We need to move. Fran, Cecile, Ilya, Sully, Rixia, please stay here and wait for us. But... No, I understand. We'd only slow you down if we tagged along. Fine, but if something happens, call us right away. I brought a first aid kit so I can at least treat minor injuries. Thanks, that helps. Please be careful out there, everyone. What Cecile said, call my Enigma if there's an emergency. Oh, shoot. I did not even think about my party formation. I didn't even save. Crap. Look. What happened to the banners? I'm not liking the looks of this. Or barriers, whatever. When did this even happen? I doubt it's one of the park's nighttime attractions. It is definitely not. I have never heard of anything like this. More importantly, how dare they vandalize Missy's good image? Yeah, that too. Wait, look there. Fool's Wonderland? Fool's Wonderland? They even went and goofed around with the name. I feel like I'm still dreaming or something. I don't know what kind of dreams you have, but I'd call this a nightmare. Kia's somewhere up ahead. It's all that matters to me. We're going in no matter what. Right. Let's move. Okay. Save. And then party formation. Do I want to swap out people? Not just yet. It's bothering me. Whatever. If we need to, we'll just reload and have to do it again. Oh, wow. How did they do... What? What is going on here? How do they do all this? Where's Kia? Someone has a pretty tacky, has some pretty tacky taste. Who the hell went through all this trouble for whatever's going on? I don't know, but I don't like the looks of this. How dare they soil these sacred grounds? That clown can never replace Mishi. Calm down, Tio. Forget that. What's important is where Kia ran off to. Something is approaching from the left and right. What? No! What are they? They don't look like special effects from the horror coaster. Whatever they are, they're hostile. Stop them. Here they come. No. It's these two. Spare me. If I'm right. Massive souls drawn from dreams. It absorbs incoming arts and confuses foes. It is. Analyze. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, Randy. Alpha wave. Screw it. Battle scope. Zany Zenith. Lulls opponents to sleep and absorbs physical attacks. It's weak to earth. Okay. Oh shoot, this is not going to do anything. Alright. Yep, just like in SC. I didn't even think of status effects. Oops. Can I still hit them with Time, Space, and Mirage? Yep, I can. There we go. Alright, Binding an age. There we go. Oh no, allies. Analyze the other one. Master Spirit, normal weapons have little effect. Blinding Haze. Hang in there, Lloyd. Fail. No, it didn't fail. Heal yourself. Oh no. That alpha wave is starting to get on my nerves. Here you go, Randy. Stay alive. Shoot. I really didn't think that through. Here you go, Death Scorpion. Tio. Heal. Aura rain. I know else coming up soon. Yeah, you know what? Just attack him. Oh no, he... Wait, what? Oh yeah, it's because Tio's attacks... Rising Sun, let's go. You're not getting that. One guard. Another guard. Damn. They're going to get that crit. Hydro cannon. Okay. So all these these attacks are not doing the best. Let's see. You'll attack him. Sorry, Lloyd. Nothing I can do. Barely doing any damage. Alright, breath. Let's see. Yeah, I'm immune to death. Silver Thorn. I know you're immune to burn. You're all immune to burn. War Cry. Let's go. Rising Sun. Well, thankfully these guys aren't anywhere near as bad as they were in SC. They were bad. Thank you. Alright, let's go, Death Scorpion again. Ooh, everyone's a little low on health. Come on, hurry up and die. Alright, one's gone. heal Tio. And Tio can heal Randy. Alright, Lloyd. Attack him with a critical. Stone Spike. Throw that his way. Ow. Oof. Hang in there, Lloyd. That should get rid of him. Nope. Okay, good. I don't care. Almost dead. Finish him. Done. Alright, that's one of them dead. Oh my goodness, I was kind of worried I'd have to restart a couple times because these guys are so annoying in SC. And that makes me wonder who brought them here from Liberal. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but these guys normally were summoned in Liberal by a certain... Ooh. Aerial Cannon 2. Nah. New material, EP Cut 2 and EP 2. Sweet. The hell was that about? I do not know, but they were effective. How long are you going to hide? Show yourself already. Huh? What? Oh, was it just him? Okay. What the? A boy? I cannot feel his presence at all. Bastard, who are you? That's rather rude. We've already crossed paths once before. I hope you haven't forgotten me. Ladies and gentlemen of the SSS. That voice, is he? The hacker who trapped all of you in Jonah's room at the Geofront B sector. You're the same person who supplied the terrorists with data on Orcus Tower, aren't you? We've crossed paths more than once, haven't we? You were also one of the two we saw in front of the doll studio. Bingo! I am Enforcer number 0, Campanella the Fool. It is a pleasure to meet you. He's from the secret society that threw Liberal into chaos? If you saw him there, then that definitely adds up. To make matters worse, he was cooperating with the terrorists. Those poor terrorists got a little unlucky, didn't they? They didn't fly to town thinking they'd make enemies of Heiyue and the Red Constellation, that's for sure. Oh, and those poor boys from the Empire. Such a shame. Don't make light of it. You were cooperating with them, weren't you? They were your comrades. They were just pawns, completely disposable. I found them interesting and thought they could shake things up, so I gave them a hand. I couldn't care less about their ideologies or mission. Well, aren't you a piece of work? He is like you if you lacked any tact and wore an ugly suit, Wazy. Enough with the jokes. Why have you come to Crossbow? What are you trying to achieve? And more importantly, what have you done with Kia? Tell us or we'll force it out of you. Oh, I like you. You're just full of vigor, ain't you? However, I would ask that you lower your voice. I haven't touched a single hair on your princess's head. All I know is that she walked straight through here in a dazed stupor a little while ago. What? Don't screw with us, you weirdo. But I'm not. It's the truth. You can believe whatever you want. The fact of the matter is, I only came to greet you this evening. Okay. Hey, did everything just... Is all an illusion. Is back to normal. Isn't that a little too grand to be a simple parlor trick? Was it some kind of illusion? If you'll excuse me, I hope we meet again soon. Oh, and don't forget to pick your princess up from her castle. Aren't you all supposed to be her knights in shining armor? Give me a break. Is this what Ouroboros is like? We heard a lot about them from Estella, Joshua, and Ren. On top of that information, they are eccentric and proficient in hacking. And now those weirdos are closing in on Crossbell? Why? Doesn't Crossbell have enough to worry about? Regardless of what they're planning, we need to forget about it for now. Shouldn't we be prioritizing searching for Kia? Right. He said she's at the castle up ahead. Let's go. Alright, everyone, let's go. She's glowing. There she is. Thank goodness. Why? Why do I... Kia! Are you alright, Kia? Thank goodness. You're not hurt, are you? Huh? What's up, guys? Is something wrong? Wrong? Don't you what's up guys me? What are you doing here, Kia? Why did you wander out of bed by yourself? Huh? Are we at that castle from earlier? Why are we here? It's like she doesn't remember coming here at all. Do you think she was sleepwalking? I don't know. I mean, yeah, people do that, but all the way over here? Do you not remember a thing, Keto? I remember hearing a voice in my dream that was calling out to me. Or maybe it was like I was calling out to it? Sorry, I don't remember. Huh. If it was just a dream, then you have nothing to apologize for. We're so glad that you're safe. That's true. Come on, let's go back to the hotel. We've got to get you back to bed, okay, Kia? Okay. Lloyd and the others then took Kia back to the hotel and put her to bed. Shortly after, they contacted security to explain what happened. Once things were ironed out, the SSS returned to the scene but didn't find anything that could explain Kia's strange behavior. At dawn, they finally returned to their hotel rooms and slept until noon. After a long-needed rest, they checked out of the hotel and left Mishelam with Maria Bell, who had arrived to pick them up. She was glowing. Did no one else see the glow? You look like you're in a good mood, Kia. I know a lot happened on this trip, but did you have fun?
Of course! I can't wait to do it again. You mean we can go to our Morica village next time?
Yeah, that could be a good idea. I was so worried about her last night, I thought she'd be more shaken. Looking at her like this, it's like it never happened. Maybe I've been overthinking it. Or rather, maybe I should be more concerned about whether it is society plotting.
Is something wrong, Lloyd?
No, it's nothing. Actually, Kia, you didn't happen to see anyone suspicious last night, did you? Like a young man wearing a pink suit?
No, I don't think so. But I was really sleepy, so I'm not sure.
Right, well, it's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it, Kia.
Hi, Belle.
Hey, Maria Belle. Thank you again for inviting us.
Not at all. You earned the break, didn't you? And even then, you still had to work during this trip thanks to the society or whatever they're called. What a bunch of clowns. One of them had the gall to lay their hands on my dolls, too. The nerve of some people. I'm going to order a thorough inspection of the security department the moment I get back to work.
I can't blame you. I hate to break it to you, Maria Belle, but I doubt regular security guards could handle someone like that anyway. But I hope we can. We're going to have to be more careful from here on out.
Well, that aside, I have a fun little idea for the two of you. How about this, Lloyd and Kia? Why not take a commemorative group photo with everyone?
I'd love to.
Haven't we taken one of those with everyone before?
You're right. It's a good way to save the memories you made with everyone. That way, when you look at the photo, you'll have something to remember the trip by.
Then yes, I want to take another one. It's decided. The deck would be better suited for it than the cabin, don't you think?
Good point. The weather is perfect too. I'll go gather everyone.
Please do. If you don't mind, could you inform the stewardess as well? Commemorative photos are part of the ship's service. She'll take the photo for us free of charge.
All right.
I know you don't want to cause your loved ones to worry too much. Being a strong girl can be difficult, can't it? Something is troubling you deep down, isn't it? I'd be happy to help if you'll allow me.
Why did it become ominous? And that's it. That's it for intermission. A brief respite. Great. Guiding light badge equipment. Wait, we didn't... Oh, well... We were just taking a vacation, so it wasn't a paid vacation, though. I mean, it was paid for, but... Meh. Alright, let's try and start up the next chapter. And then be done. Good, things are proceeding smoothly. It's Campanella. Oh, it's this place again. Celestial Globe. Indeed, preparations have progressed to around 90%. I should have more than enough time to fulfill the order. Excellent work, Professor. Campanella, what can you tell me of the other Enforcer's movements?
I believe Blue Blanc stopped by to play for a little bit, but he's already gone back to his other duties. Ren hasn't returned to Crosswell since leaving for Liberal. As for our other little deserter, perhaps we should continue taking a wait-and-see approach with her. She lent me some of those
bound spirits of hers to play with, but I don't think she has any intention of intervening further.
Wait. Was I right? Dude.
Then she... Wow. That is perfectly fine as well. She is free to do as she wants, just as the Meister did.
Perhaps, but the enforcers have a bit too much freedom for my liking. Then again, that is how things are meant to be. What an irrational system she has put into place. That is the Grandmaster's will, Professor. It is senseless to question whether it is right or wrong. Regardless, I believe our final guest has arrived. I was wondering where she was.
Timely as always.
As with this 7th Anguisse, my apologies for the wait.
I see you have already started.
I had no mind, we'd only just begun. Have things with that matter already been settled?
Yes, I left everything in the hands of the Oathbreaker. Turning our attention to Crossbell. It has been quite some time since I've been to that land. Isn't it amazing just how much it's changed? It's fair to call it the most advanced metropolis on the continent and the center of modern civilization. I intend to return there before the finishing touches are made. We so rarely get together. What do you say to meeting me there, 7th? I have no objections. Then I will leave the hereafter in both of your capable hands. Here is to the next step in the Grandmaster's phantasmal blaze plan. Take care to set the stage well.
Understood.
Yes, for the sake of the Grandmaster.
Oof. The 1st, the 6th, and the 7th.
The referendum on Crossbell's potential independence, as proposed by Mayor Croy, was drawing nearer. The pressure from the Imperial and Republican government was mounting by the day, but so too was citizens' fervor. Combined with the excitement generated from Arkansas's encore performance, emotions in the city were hitting a fever pitch. Meanwhile, a new concern was beginning to emerge from the shadows.
Oh, great. Now what? Did you say cryptids?
Hey, bracers. No Arios, though. That I did. I don't believe it's appropriate to refer to them simply as monsters. Not only are they much larger, their origins are a mystery. What's more, they're starting to appear all over Crossbell. That's the one we saw. The commander isn't exaggerating. We couldn't handle it between just the two of us and had to retreat. Then it really isn't an average monster. This is not the briefing that I was expecting.
There's more. Other types have been sighted as well.
We've seen that one before. Isn't it identical to the monster that appeared at the bottom of the deserted mine?
Is that the dragon thing? The hell? Did it come back or something? It was taken a few days ago in the mountains to the north. Scott and Wenzel here were able to exterminate it.
Good job, guys. I'll say, you managed to exterminate it by yourselves?
Yeah, but we had to get the jump on it to pull it off. It was thanks to the CGF's intel that we were able to take it out. Right, but there was something very strange about how it acted. It was having strange reactions to our arts,
and it disappeared into a beam of light when we finally defeated it.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened when we fought it. You said it appeared in the mountains? Do you mean it was out in the open this time?
Yes, until now monsters like these only appeared in enclosed locations such as Stargazer's Tower and the Moon Temple. We can't explain why, but they seem to cause spatial distortion when they appear. These cryptids, however, appeared outdoors in the mountains to the north and on the lakeshore to the south. We suspect the same spatial distortion effects could still be happening in those locations. That's not good. I was afraid you were going to say that. Is that why you called all of us here?
Yes, we'd like to request the help of the Bracer Guild and SSS in dealing with these cryptids. The CGF has been on high alert at both Belgard and Tangram ever since the mayor's independence proposal. Simply put, our manpower is focused there, at least until the referendum has passed. We understand. You have the cooperation of the SSS. Us too. Should we go ahead and decide how we're going to divvy this up?
That would be best. I'll provide you with all the data we have and trust you to decide a suitable course of action. If at all possible, I'd like to request that you discover what's causing these cryptids to appear in the first place. Causing them to? Do you suspect an external forces behind the cryptid's sudden appearance? Yes, think of it this way. Dangerous monsters appearing on our highways is a cyclical phenomenon. The cryptids, however, are an anomaly. Their appearance doesn't align with that cycle at all. Which led to us to believe that there is a root cause behind their appearance. Our theory is that spatial distortions are the cause, that they led to the monsters appearing and not the other way around. Interesting idea. Understood. I swear on the name of the supporting gauntlet that we will get to the bottom of this. I didn't think we'd all get to team up for a job like this.
It was unfathomable at the start of the year. Give us some credit, Sourpuss. We've come a long way since back then. Yeah, you guys have made a name for yourselves. If things don't work out with the police, you'd probably be hired at the guild in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to have you in the guild, Tio. I think it'd be a perfect match. Are you sure the guild is who you are trying to pair me with? We appreciate the sentiment. That aside, I don't have a good feeling about whatever these cryptids are.
Me neither. I think we should split up and get to work. The CGS report mentions 5 of them in total. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like you guys to take care of 2 of them. Offering to do most of the work yourselves? Are you sure? It seems a bit disproportionate. Plus, you guys don't have Arios right now.
Exactly, that's why. I'm sure you guys will be feeling more pressure from his absence as well. Besides, monster exterminations are typically a Bracer's jurisdiction. We both have other jobs to take care of in addition to the cryptids, so I think dividing things up like this is for the best. If you insist. I guess, but something about this arrangement feels a bit unfair.
Don't sweat it. It's not like we aren't on the same team. And besides, you all will probably have your hands full with society again before long. Oh yeah. Dang, I was trying to forget about those weirdos.
The Society of Ouroboros. The Bracer Guild has a history with them, does it not? Yep, Estelle, Joshua, and the rest of the Liberalian Guild had their hands full with them during the Liberal incident. The Guild has also had a bunch of other run-ins with them across the continent since then.
Not to mention, the attack on the Guild branches in Ereboni is suspected to be their doing too. Our presence in the Empire has declined significantly ever since, thanks to the pressure from the Imperial government. That traces back to them too. For real, the more we learn about these guys, the less I want to know. Truth be told, the guild doesn't know a lot about who they are or what their structure is like. We don't even know what they're after most of the time. All I can say for sure is to watch your backs around them.
Yeah, and give us a ring if you run into any trouble, got it? The cryptids aren't the only common enemy we have. Those snakes are our problem too.
Got it.
We'll update you if anything happens.
Chapter 3, Budding Turmoil. Oof. Cryptid Survey Report outline. Mysterious monster, henceforth referred to as cryptids. Sightings have recently been confirmed. The CGF is currently working to decipher the situation. Little is known about these cryptids aside from the simple fact that they exist. Thus, countermeasures have yet to be developed. All is known about the confirmed cryptids is the list listed on the following pages. Case A, St. Ursula Road. Through a small cave on the sandbar. Visual profile has several tortoise-like characteristics. Scouting report. Sighted by a guardsman on patrol. The creature did not move at all while being observed, so it was left alone for the time being. The cryptid may be dangerous if approached directly. East Crossbell Highway, the vicinity of the boathouse. Plant-like creature with a large mouth. By a resident of the boat shed, the report has yet to be verified by the CGF. Like the cryptid in Case A, it does not move. Furthermore, it may also be dangerous if confronted. Sandbar on Ursula Road in the outskirts of East Crossbell Highway. We haven't been there much lately. They don't sound as aggressive as the one that appeared in the deserted mine, at least. Still, wouldn't hurt to get ourselves prepared.
We also need to investigate what's causing them to appear, right? Yes. Given the spatial distortions reported, the higher elements, time, space, and mirage, must be at play. I should be able to perceive them when the higher elements are active. However, ascertaining the source of the cryptids may prove difficult.
No one figured why the higher elements freaked out at Stargazer's Tower or the Moon Temple, other than those bells, I guess. Actually, wasn't the Sun Fort over on the ancient battlefield the same? Yeah, I remember it being like that when we entered.
However, after that crisis was resolved, the abnormalities ceased to exist. And unlike the other two, the Sun Fort doesn't have a bell. That makes determining the source that much more difficult.
Well, anyway, we need to get a move on. Chances are we got some more work to take care of. Good point. Okay, let's go after we check the terminal for new support requests. Question. Wasn't the bell at the Sun Fort taken to brought here to Crossbell? Anyway, we'll go over these next time. Next time on the... Oh. There are more requests than usual today. I doubt it's because Arios isn't working right now.
Right. Chief said he was going to visit them in the hospital today. It'd be nice to join them if we have some free time.
For sure. Sounds like even Keto went yesterday too. She was feeling pretty depressed.
Indeed, I am worried about her. Well, if we use the car, it shouldn't take long to get to the hospital. So, if we have time, why don't we go visit the MacLeans too?
That's a good idea. Still though, that operation to restore her eyesight. I guess it was as tricky as we were told. I'd imagine so.
I'd heard the operation wasn't necessarily a failure, but she still hasn't recovered.
Okay, so next time on The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure, we'll be taking on these support requests, and then we'll also be trying to continue the main plot, taking out these cryptids, whatever they are. Hopefully they're not just some new form of cryptocurrency. I'm so sick of that. So I'll see you guys next time.